My name is Mike Weinstein, and this is Justin Frederick. Welcome to the Real Estate 401k show. You're going to want to text the word, I don't know, how about red? Text the word red to 623-AZ-RECON. That's red to 623-AZ-RECON. I come up with text codes because I don't plan and think ahead. I'm just reading. I'm looking at a headline and I see Redfin. So we are not promoting Redfin, nor do we work with Redfin, nor are we associated with Redfin.
I don't hate them though.
I don't hate them.
No.
So according to Redfin, and this is the other element. We know transactions, buyers entering the marketplace are down. We know that inventory's up. We are still seeing transactions, but according to Redfin, we have a record number of home buyers are backing out of deals. So why are they backing out of deals? And I really, Ryan, because you're really good at this, of when you are a seller and the importance of having a listing agent, of keeping a deal together. There is an art to keeping a deal together. There is an art and a process and a system to be notified when a deal is going sideways and how to get in front of it rather than just get that email and saying, the deal's over. But in your guys' estimates, because Justin, I got to assume you're seeing it on your side of things, of why are buyers backing out of deals?
Well, as far as a listing agent goes, we always front load as much work as we possibly can. So I think nowadays probably one of the most important things to do that you can really front load work on is getting inspections done on properties. We're not really seeing any appraisal issues. So I don't necessarily think that it's important to get an appraisal on your property before you list it, unless it's a super unique home. I see the mistake of people saying, "Hey, I want to test the market. I want to see if we can go a little bit higher." Because in their brain, if they start out higher, they can negotiate lower, but they can't negotiate up. Mm-hmm. That's still false. If you bring your home at or just slightly under fair market value, there's still tons of buyers out there that are going to drive the price up. We still see many contracts go with multiple offers. I think the other thing is that, because this article, it's primarily talking about existing homes. And particularly here in Maricopa County, we're getting our asses kicked by new home builders. And I applaud them. We've talked about it before in the past, like what they've been doing in order to combat interest rates and combat everything that's happening in a market that, where you have the election, you have inflation, you have unemployment. What they're doing in order to combat that is sensational. So if you have an existing home, why not take a page out of their book? They're doing a lot of stuff that are helping buyers buy down rates. That's helping them come to the table with less to no money aside from their down payment. So if you're a seller, instead of going over there and overpricing the home, price it at fair market value, get an inspection, front load that work, and then
are you recommending? Okay, I just want to make sure I'm understanding you correctly. Are you recommending that the homeowner, prior to going on the market, getting a home inspection themselves? Because traditionally, it's put on the market, you get a contract, and the buyer does. What's the advantage of that?
I think if you're one of those like super OCD, every single night you guys are mopping the floors, and you guys are doing all those things that are really taking care of the home, then you probably don't need it. But but you're a homeowner, and so just take a look in the mirror, proverbially, and you know what's going on with your home. Mm-hmm. You know when the last time you painted it was. You know the last time you cleared out all the cabinets and made sure that there was no leaks under anything or whatever. You know the idiosyncrasies of your home. Go over there, get it inspected. It's only like $350, right? And $350 is a drop in the bucket in the grand scheme of things. And then and then you can get those repairs done prior to a buyer walking in there, and then you can go to a buyer and say, "Hey, buy with confidence. obviously get your own home inspection. But here, we've already done one, and we fixed all those things, or we fixed A, B, and C on here, just to be completely transparent, so that we're not having a tough conversation 5 days into the inspection.
Well, to your point, and to clarify, with Anthony at HCP inspections, I think for a standard size house, the inspections now are 400, but 450 if you want to get the termites. Okay, this drives me nuts. If you are a homeowner and you're a seller, there is no excuse on the face of the planet for my buyer and their inspector to show up and see termites. Pay the extra $50 because though here in Arizona termites aren't a big deal, we classify two types of houses that have termites and houses that don't have them yet. There's two things that freak the heck out of buyers. It's mold and termites.
Yep.
Just
Get in front of it.
get in front of the termites. It drives me nuts.
And especially here, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Now, if you've had termites for decades, then you have a few more problems than just termites. You probably have structural damage, but at the end of the day, get in front of it. It's a minimal cost, and then the treatment of it is $400, $450, again, about the same cost as the inspection. And then it's just that peace of mind and more ammunition as a seller to say, hey, look, buyer, I want you to walk into a situation that I can sign off on, that I can be proud as a seller to sell to you.
Justin, what are you seeing on your end? Because obviously we're seeing record number of home buyers are backing out of deals. And for the record, this is a national statistic. I don't know how it breaks out between state by state, but I'm sure you're seeing a lot of cancellations. I think one of the biggest reasons is because of the way the market is, buyers can be more picky.
I agree with that, but I think it falls in line with the types of homes that are being sold right now. I feel like it's very just common right now. And keep in mind, we're in multiple states. So, there's a lot of...
Bragger. Check me out. I'm in multiple states.
You guys are too. We've seen older homes in downtown with stuff that was permitted prior to the 60s that were having egress issues. We have wells out in North Peoria, in the middle of nowhere, that are being these properties are being built by owner builders that they're financing the build and trying to make some money off of it. And we got a well that only supports 20,000 gallons a month for a house when somebody wants a pool. There's just little things that we're seeing. Sometimes these sellers right now, they don't have any types of funds, so we're seeing on a lot of our VA loans chip paint, and they can't afford to paint it, and our buyers don't want to paint it beforehand. There's things like that we can work out ways to get around it. But we have seen a lot of people just, hey, you know what? I'm going to move on to the next home. There's too much here, because they have the ability and they've seen what they've gotten on these homes as buyers. I feel like whether it's interest rate buy downs or lots of concessions. So we are seeing a lot of people move on. I feel like in the month of August, we probably lost 40% of our purchase contracts due to inspections.
Okay, are they though of the people that are moving on? What percentages are moving on and out of the game, and what percentage are just moving on to find something else? Because that's the important message to the seller.
We have 0 people moving on or getting out of the game. 0. 100% of them are moving on to other homes. They're just trying to limit their costs and get as much as they can for themselves at the right house, what they're looking for. The person with the well, they were even considering building a bigger well. And we thought the builder might entertain it, but they didn't. I thought that was cool.
They knew their well was shit.
Yeah, they absolutely did.
So,
and unfortunately for them in this market, they're going to be sitting on that house.
Oh yeah. I mean, an acre property without being able to build a pool. They wanted a casita. They can't build a casita either. So, yeah, they're probably going to be learning a tough lesson as the builder there. So they'll have to figure that out. But you know, the good news is, like we were talking about, 100% of the people that have backed out, they're continuing to look. They're finding ways. And the egress individual, it would have been really easy for those sellers. I had already had a conversation with the appraiser. They could have cut a hole in the wall and made a door.
How much, guys, is this with sellers? They're not understanding the market, and I think sellers need to be aware that we're having record level numbers of people canceling contracts, and they're not getting out of the game. They're moving on. How much of this is a byproduct of 2020, 2021, 2022, the way that market was, where sellers, they didn't have to do shit. It didn't really matter. And that's carrying over whether the buyer was a buyer or whether the seller was a buyer at that point, and that's how they're just not seeing. Things have changed.
Oh, for sure. And I don't think it's just sellers. I think buyers don't know the market either. And then I think that when they do get into the middle of it and they start seeing, oh man, there's all these other options out here. Maybe I probably wrote too quickly on this home, right? And where they could have probably said, you know, I can see with an even untrained eye that there's a lot of work to be done here. But I still kind of have this in my head of what I had to do in order to win a contract in 2021, so I better jump on it right now. And then the good real estate professionals out there are saying, hey, pump the brakes. You know, we're seeing this red flag, seeing this red flag. Before we go down this rabbit hole, I don't want to blow $450 of your inspection money and then 5 days of your time, 10 days of your time, or whatever. Like, let's put this one on ice, or we need to really take that into account and have a conversation with the seller up front before we start writing an offer, because I can tell you already that this roof is 25 years old, and we're going to come at you with a $15,000 price reduction because it needs a new roof. Or we can do a price adjustment right now.
I can't, going back to as a seller doing the home inspection. Okay, so a typical seller is going to do, one, I don't want to do a home inspection because I don't want to know. Because when I find out, I got to disclose. And if you get a home inspection, I would recommend making that available to any buyer before they make an offer. And a common seller is going to go, well, I don't want them to know what the problems are. My argument is you want them to know what the problems are, because the problems are going to come up when they get their own inspection. You'd rather them not write rather than know the problems and still write, because they're going to be more serious buyers.
I totally agree. I think that's I think it's very sticky when you can go over to a buyer and say, hey, look, your money is only good here if you understand these things before you sign. And then part of it makes them say, okay, well, I'm going to zero in on this information. And then, man, that makes me want it even more.
All right, if you want more information about strategies to properly putting your house on the market to mitigate the risk of having cancellations, we'd love to have that discussion with you, walk you through some of our strategies. All you got to do is text the word RED to 623-AZ-RECON. That's RED to 623-AZ-RECON. All right. Experience matters. Who you work with matters. I think at any given time in Arizona, I know this is just an estimation, but somewhere around 80,000 licensed real estate agents. I think the majority of them would be considered realtors. Any realtor, anyone who's licensed and has access to the MLS can put your house on the MLS and put it out there so that every buyer, whether they're on Redfin, Zillow, and on mobile apps or whatever the case is, they can find your home. And oftentimes sellers are looking for the best deal possible. We see a lot of companies who I don't know, I guess you would call it like a flat fee listing. Hey, you pay us X amount of dollars and it's pennies on the dollars and we're just going to put it on the MLS, but when you get offers, you've got to negotiate. Listen, if it was easy and if it was always simple and there weren't pitfalls and we didn't have record numbers of people backing out of deals, honestly, it wouldn't matter who you listed your home with and who put it on the MLS. You're selecting that person based on how do I mitigate risk? How do I negotiate? How do I get the best deal? How do I mitigate my risk? What are the things that you are going to do, Mike Ryan or Joe Schmo over there? What are you going to do to help mitigate this contracts falling out of escrow? And I would say for us, and this is why people need to text RED to 623-AZ-RECON, is when there is trouble in paradise, it's are you working with the crew who can get ahead of it, is aware that there's trouble in paradise, and because I think we have a I don't know kind of rate, a high saving rate. Like the number of transactions that turn south on us when we're representing sellers, the percentage of them, the numbers of them that we keep things together and still get the buyer and the seller to the finish line, I think I would dare say way above the national average.
And so I think what you're leading to is what should a seller be thinking about when they're deciding who to work with, right? And
how do you keep a deal together?
Okay. We kind of talked about how I keep deals. I front load a lot of work, and then but at the same time, the answer is the same. The number one reason why people either hate realtors or they love them, or a deal works or it doesn't. Number one is communication, and I don't think that there's too much communication that could be had. And I think that the number two reason is having somebody that is ready to have hard conversations and not happy to do them, but we'll jump at the opportunity because it's a growing opportunity. And I don't mean that as a cliche. I mean that, hey, look, we have something to learn here, because had we known this, then we could have taken care of it before. Let's make sure that these problems don't happen again, right? Because that's the worst thing you can possibly do is make the same mistake twice. So I think that the majority of the sellers that enjoy working with us enjoy it because we're not going to just go over there and tell you you're pretty every time we talk to you. We're not going to stroke you. We're going to give you the raw deal or the raw news and let you know exactly what's going on, and then hey, you can take that information. You can either learn from it or not, and if you choose not to, then we're probably not the best guys for you. And I think those are the two big things that really keep not only sellers happy with us, but it also keeps deals together, because I'm going to do the same thing with the agent on the other side. Now, part of our special sauce whenever it comes to negotiating is I hit them with brutal honesty. Hey, look, seller and I both know that roof is 25 years old. How are we going to work through it? And they're not going to pay $20,000 to replace it. So what are we going to do about that? How are we going to move forward with this thing, right? Here's some other options, right? Maybe we could help buy down a rate, right? This is going to save them X amount of dollars over a long enough time. What are some other pressure points that is really driving this situation? And then see how we can solve problems from there.
All right, if you'd like some more information and really understanding the nuances and the strategies and the loss mitigation techniques that are necessary, especially in this market, when it comes to selling your house, would love to have that conversation with you. All you got to do is text the word RED to 623-AZ-RECON. It's RED to 623-AZ-RECON. All right, boys, it is Friday. My wife and I, we are appetizer snobs. Like we could freaking just eat appetizers for dinner. Like an appetizer party where there was nothing else would make us happy. So you're going out Friday night and your spouse or if somebody wants to text appetizer to 623AZ Recon, we'll allow you to take us out to appetizers. But your spouse says, you know what, I just want the best appetizer. Where's your favorite place? Ryan?
All right. I love this question because even when we go out of town, my wife and I will just restaurant hop and do one appetizer, jump to the next
Smart.
one,
It's smart.
and it gives us just a little taste of all the different restaurants in a major city.
And you're having a cocktail at every stop.
For sure, for sure. But locally, so there's a restaurant about 2 miles away from my house called Greektown, and there's only one of them. It's locally owned, and George is the owner, and he'll let you know that within 5 seconds of you walking in the door. And it's just amazing. And I feel like if I was like a mafia boss, this would probably be the restaurant that I just kind of lived at, because it's that kind of it's that cool, dramatic kind of environment. And they have a calamari dish there that is second to none. It's by far my favorite appetizer, and it's only 2 miles away. So next time you're in the neighborhood of 7th Street and Butler area, which is kind of like north central Phoenix,
I'm getting hungry right
it's
now.
Greektown, and get their calamari.
All right, Justin.
All right, so
I'm looking at you. You don't look like an appetizer guy. You're like a
definitely
steak
not.
and potato guy. You're stopping
I
at
am
5 different places
so
in the
funny.
evening for a different steak.
Well, yeah, and I got to be able to ride there on my horse, so it's got to be close. So Texas Roadhouse, I love Texas Roadhouse appetizers. I worked there for a long time growing up in college, and they're just plain good appetizers. You got the wings, you got the bloomin' onion, you got there's these things.
I thought that was Outback.
No.
The Texas Roadhouse.
It's called a cactus blossom at
Got it,
Texas
okay.
Roadhouse.
All right.
Same thing. You got the bread. You got these things called snake bites. They're like little jalapeno poppers. Oh, so good, in the sauce that goes with it, and the wings. I love the wings.
Haven't had the wings there.
Yeah, good.
All right, so I says it's my special day. I get 2.
Okay.
First one, I'm going chain. Second one, I'm going non-chain. First one, I don't know. At the end of the day, the avocado egg rolls
I
at the
love
Cheesecake
those.
Factory.
I
Oh
love
my
those.
gosh,
That
that
was my
little
second.
that sauce that they put on
Oh,
them
it's so
is
good.
just the best. But and
I love those.
the second one will come as a shock to people, but it won't to you guys because we've all experienced it together. But there is a place. It's a cigar shop, and I wouldn't even call it a cigar shop. It's a cigar bar.
Oh, I know where you're going
On
with this.
Union
Yeah.
Hills and 7th Street, called Magnums. And you walk in. Of course, they got some of the greatest bourbon selections. You got this area where the humidor where they sell the cigars, and then you turn left. You walk through the doors, and you're just transported into one of the most elegant looking bars. But they've only serve one food item, and it's the charcuterie board. And I am telling you, I keep trying to talk my wife into, because she doesn't want to be around cigar smoke, but that charcuterie
It's
board.
the best damn
It's so
charcuterie
good.
board I've ever had.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
100%.
No, good one. My second choice was oysters at Papa Do's.
Ooh.
But, yeah.
Okay,
Right.
fun fact.
Yeah.
Fun fact, because I just watched this documentary on Wyatt Earp in Tombstone. It's on Netflix right now. First of all, I could not believe on how off the movie Tombstone was to the chain of events and the people, whatever the case is.
It's Hollywood, but it's amazing.
But back in Tombstone's heyday, they had an oyster bar. Yeah,
In Arizona.
Yeah,
that was the point. That's
Wow.
why it stuck out.
Wow.
hell
How
did
they get him over here?
Yeah. I mean, that must have been a pain in the ass.
Yeah, tons
Had
of
to have stunk.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, people had to die from this.
All right. Well, we appreciate you joining us. Go ahead and text the word RED to 623AZ Recon, and we'd love to chat with you about our listing strategies. Again, all you got to do is text the word RED to 623AZ Recon.